What's up, Fit Fam? My name is Sully. This right here is John 6. This is Guys with Thighs.
Yeah.
And episode 27. Here we go. How you doing, Six?
It. Oh, dude, I am doing great. I'm starting to feel the diet a little bit finally.
5 weeks out? 4 weeks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
4?
5, right above 4, so right below 5.
Okay. All
5
right.
was yesterday.
Okay, yeah. You saw. You sent me that Flex Friday photo, and it was like coming along, coming along good.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
I got a little progress picture on the story of my of the back pose as well. I was very happy because it was no pump, and freaking actually our boy Zach in the warehouse, he kind of was like, dude, you have a back vein in the middle. I was like, bro, this wasn't even a pump. I didn't even notice that. Thank you.
Yes, this is what we do. And you can see it before I put a tan on.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just wait till you get tanned up the day before. Because we know it's not happening before that.
Oh, yeah, not at all. Hey, this is the best we're going to get, honestly.
Yeah, it's that Summer Smash tan.
Yeah, exactly.
Good Lord, man. We're 2 weeks out already. Isn't that crazy? Or actually, no, that was last weekend.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Time flies when you're having fun, dude.
You've been doing a lot, so.
I'm a little tired. I'm not going to admit, y'all. I just did 40 miles of Spartan racing, and it was fun. It was really fun. This is really funny, though. When I was trying to explain that it was a Cincinnati Spartan race, but it's not really. So what they do with Spartan racing is they attach the name, and they do it with like kind of all races, because like races can't be in the city, right?
Yeah.
Well, Spartan does. They kind of have like a stadium race, but like that's in the city. But so it was the Cincinnati Spartan race, but it was on a ski resort that's in Indiana, and we were staying in Kentucky. Yeah, put it together. Yeah,
I was like, wait, give me a second. Okay.
So it was
right on the border there,
yeah,
I guess?
Dude, it was right there. Because like we
wait
were 30 minutes away from the venue. But like, yeah, so it was Cincinnati Spartan race. It's in Indiana, but we were staying in Kentucky. And it's just like, Jesus, that's math that I'm not mathing, you know?
Not at all, yeah. No, when you look back at the video, you're going to see me real confused there for a second. I was just like, wait, what? Dude, I didn't follow it there for a second. I got it, though.
Dude, the venue was crazy, though. So, like, me and my friend Nick, like, he ran his first Spartan race last year. He's part of he loves first form outdoors, man. And he ran his first Spartan race last year there at that venue.
Okay.
And that venue last year was so difficult, it was insane. Like, it was just, you went into water and you just went up hills for 13 miles. Like, it was crazy. This year, they changed the venue a little bit, so they had like 4 miles outside of the big hills. So it made it a lot better, a lot more doable. And this year, me and Nick both were just like, well, that was a hard venue, so we're going to do the Ultra.
Yeah.
So the Ultra was 32 miles compared to the
God.
Beast, which is normally 13.1.
Jesus.
So we both completed the Ultra of 32 miles yesterday, over 60, almost 65, 70 obstacles that we did. Took me 9 hours and 15 minutes to do. I think it took him just over 12 hours. It took him just over 12 hours. So it was one hell of a Saturday.
Full day of work there.
And and then we went back. Both of us did, and we on Sunday. So today, day of recording, we finished the Super, which is a 10K, and then we finished the Sprint. So we got our Ultra trifecta. It's our first one of the year.
That's insane.
And we're both going out to Colorado next weekend.
Let's go.
So yeah, he's bringing the kids and the wife, so it's gonna be really cool. Because I finally get to meet the family, and we're gonna meet up with a few Spartan racing people out there that we know, and it's gonna be really, really fun.
Hell yeah, dude. That sounds awesome. Hey, I just wanted to make sure that you don't leave out the part that you drove straight here, and we are now doing the podcast right after that race.
I mean, you're the good spirit coming in. You know, this is your off day, and here we go. And I was just like, well, dude, I could do it Sunday night, and the sun is still shining. We still got plenty of daylight.
Absolutely.
So like, why not, right?
Yeah,
like,
but hey, I just want to make sure people know how crazy you are for freaking driving for 6 hours after 2 races and then getting into helping some people through our podcast.
It's for the people, man. It's for the people. And selfishly, I like hanging out with you. And selfishly, like, I like doing this, right? It's fun to me. We wouldn't be doing 27 episodes of Guys with Thighs like if I didn't think it was enjoyable. And I want to bring, personally, I think that's what life is all about. This is also why I Spartan race, is to bring more joy, more happiness, more fun, more good people into your life. And you kind of check all those boxes. They check all those boxes. Like Spartan racing, that's what it is about. But it sucks. sometimes it's a grind, but you got to embrace the grind. Mm-hmm. And I think that's like the biggest lesson that like over Spartan racing, like over this past weekend, it's just like, man, sometimes you're gonna, we called it the ultra shuffle. Sometimes you're gonna ultra shuffle down that hill. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're gonna ultra shuffle, and sometimes you power walk. Like with this.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about back from my lineman days, kind of like the fat man shuffle.
Yes, yeah. You give it like a good skip, and you're just like, yes, that's the fastest step we're going to go. And then you're just like, okay.
It's like you're still at walking speed, but like you're in jogging
But
form.
It's the shuffle. Yeah, it's the shuffle. It's the shuffle. And like sometimes you pass like people that are walking that have done less than you, and they're just like, oh. I'm like, yeah. Gives me a little motivation. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's the same thing with like this. Like you probably had days where you didn't want to record, and I had days I know sometimes where I was just like, fuck, we got to do this. Mm-hmm. But like we don't got to do this. We get to do this.
Exactly.
Like with Spartan racing, I remind people all the time, like they look like they're sucking wind. It's just like they just want to quit. I ultra shuffle. Remember you paid for this? hey, I'm gonna get my medal if I pay for that damn thing. Yeah. It's gonna happen. So like it's just embracing the grind. Like it sucks. You're gonna fail. You're gonna fall down. That's like a given. I didn't run clean races this year, or this weekend. Leading up to it, I was on a roll. But like it's okay. Like embrace the grind. It's like
absolutely.
Like okay, cool. I'll hopefully get that on the next lap, and then we just keep on moving. Right?
Absolutely.
And then with this, like, hey, if we miss something today or if we screw something up today, hopefully we get it on the next podcast. And hopefully y'all stick with us because we're learning too.
Yeah, you just got to get a little bit better every time. And I'm super glad you mentioned that about embracing the, and I've heard it from like other Marines and people from the military, embrace the suck.
Embrace the suck. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I remember one of my friends had a tattoo of that because our cadres used to say that. Just embrace the suck, man. Like, that's all it is. Like, that's it. Like, that's what you have to do.
Exactly. Yeah, and I was actually, when I was just with my mom and my aunt today, and we went on a walk after our meal, I was actually talking a little bit about something like that with my brother. So I want to relate this to everybody because I think a lot of people could be struggling with figuring out like what their true passion is or like what they truly want to do in life. Like, that's something that I struggled with before.
We're still figuring it out, brother.
Exactly.
We're still figuring it out.
Exactly. We all don't know exactly what we want to do, but things you're passionate about, it's not always going to be fun. It's like, I am passionate as hell about working out, about bodybuilding and things like that, but there's days where I do not want to work out at all. Like, there's been a couple days this week, like I was saying, we've been low carbs, no refeed for a little bit. It's like I really did not want to work out a couple days, but I got in there and got it done. And honestly, those are the days where you really remember why you're so passionate about it too. Like, you get to reflect, like, wow, like that was actually a really good workout, and the post-workout feeling, like, this is why I do this shit. For that fulfillment of, like, I just pushed myself and went through something really hard, and I got this benefit after of that feeling good. And then it goes into you can get into the long term of the results you get long term from consistently doing that. But even just that short term feeling of, I just did that even though I did not want to at all, is an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it's learning to master the mind, which is absolutely, like, you're never going to fully master your mind.
Absolutely not.
But I was talking to a couple of people today. It's just like how do you do this, right? Well, first off, left foot, right foot. Keep moving. Left foot, right foot. I got that from Austin. Mm-hmm. Like when we ran our 50-miler together. It's just like left foot, right foot. It's a tornado. Good. Left foot, right foot. So there's that. But then it's also just like, hey man, like, it's a mindset. Like, you gotta accept the hurt. You gotta accept the pain. You gotta accept, like, things aren't gonna go right. You gotta accept all of that. You're not gonna feel right. You're gonna fail. And it's just like, cool. All right. Let's accept that. Now that we accepted that, let's keep going. And like, that's what it is in bodybuilding. Like,
exactly.
Like, hey man, like, I woke up, I have no carbs, no energy, no nothing, no sex drive, anything. Mm-hmm. And you're just like, well, but I can control what I'm going to do next. Mm-hmm. And that's where, like, in Spartan racing, I always say, just make the next right decision. I say that in life, but making the next right decision, left foot, right foot, you're going to keep going. You're going to get that medal. For you, you're going to get up on that stage by making the next right decision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's you gotta be conscious of that every single moment. Like, you have to be present to be able to make that decision. So you can't be stuck in the past, like, oh, I messed this up, or you can't be worried too much. Like, plan for the future, but don't worry about like, oh, if I do this, is gonna mess up this. Like, focus on right now, and like you said, putting that left foot in front of that right foot over and over.
Yep, and that's where, like, I personally use journaling for this. It's just like, cool, I need to learn from the past, absolutely. I need to plan for the future, but I need to live in the moment. So I'm taking all those lessons, I'm reflecting, I'm doing all that stuff, journaling, all that stuff, and then I'm looking out, like, what do I want to do? Andy uses the 90-day plan, right? And then he says 1,000 days, like, you just break it down. So you use the 90-day plan, you figure it out, right? We'll call it even a quarter. Like, do a quarter. Like, there's 4 quarters in a year, why not, right? And then you just work towards that. Like, you set a goal, let's just work every single day, living in the moment, making the next right decision towards that goal. And if you get to that time frame and you didn't get there, that's where the reflection comes in. You adjust your plan, and then you just put your head down and you keep on going. Like, that's the key to success in everything. If you look at it, fitness, skill building, in your job, like, it's the key to success. All you have to do is reflect, even ask for help, especially in your job, right?
100%.
Like, hey, give me some feedback so then I can fix it. Now you set a goal, 90 days later, you can see if you're on course. If you're not on course, well, that's on you, you better fix it. And then you execute again, though, because now you have something from the past that's just like, oh, shit, I better fix this. And it's just like, I know how to fix it. And if you don't know how, ask. Okay? There's so many people out there that don't want to see you fail. Like, you're going to get those ones or twos that are just like, but, I mean, like, most of the time, everybody else is actually in your corner. And you just think they're against you because they give you, like, some response that you weren't ready for. Or some response that was done, like, maliciously when you just took it maliciously because it's a shot to the ego. Yeah, so, y'all, embrace the suck. Like, it's that simple. Like, just, and then make the next right decision. Comes 100%. Down to that.
Yeah, no, I mean, that goes back, like, going back to the embrace the suck with that 90-day planning. Like, no, you're not going to execute perfectly every single day. There's going to be days where you let that shitty day get in your way and you don't hit everything. Get right back on. Embrace that suck and get right back on. Like, it's going to suck even more the next day after you messed up. But you got to get through that one bad day to have more good ones after. So
yeah, good always follows the next right decision. It always does. Like, even if you're pulling yourself out, like, there's always something to look for. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that actually reminded me real quick, because when you saw me walking out there, came across this post. I can't remember if he's a pastor, but he's very faith-based on his Instagram page. And he basically just mentioned something from Exodus where it rained for 10 days and 10 nights. Like, it was very bad 10 days in a row. And basically, God sent them miracle overnight to fix their problems. So basically, go to the really common phrase that a lot of people will say. It's like, after the rain comes the sun. Like, after that shitty time, you're always going to have a much better time, and you have that perspective of that bad time to show you how good the good times are. Because the good times don't feel good, like you aren't fulfilled if you don't struggle at all.
Yeah,
I think that's super important to remember. Like, if you're just only on the top, like, you're only winning, you only have good things happen, like, you become numb and you're not grateful for those
That becomes
things.
Your status quo. Like, you don't learn to, like you said, embrace it. You don't learn to live in the joy of the moment because you're just like, oh, this is how life is supposed to be. And it's just like, actually, that's pretty cool. And I think that's what, in the United States, you see that so much. So much, man. I've been blessed to travel the world, and like, there's people that all they want is to be able to wash their clothes at night, and they can't. Like, there's people that all they want is, like, clean drinking water, and they can't get it, and we see people around, just taking it all for granted, and it's kind of sad to me. You're going to have that everywhere, like, first world countries, third world countries, like, that just happens.
Yeah.
But it's the fact that, like, some people are just, like, they're not aware of it, to the point to where, like, they just bitch when everything, like, isn't their way. Or they don't put their freaking shopping cart back. I'm on a crusade, people. Put your freaking shopping cart back. But it's like that thing.
Those
right?
simple things where people just get lazy as hell.
Like, there's countries that would love just to have shopping carts. And it's just, you think I'm joking, but it's the truth. And it's just like, but we have just gotten so numb because America has had a lot of blessing, in especially recently. Pretty much since the end of World War II. But yeah, so it comes down to like live in the moment and don't take anything for granted, y'all, because it can change in an instant.
100%. Yeah, I think that is what is causing a lot of issues just across the board for a lot of people, is like taking things for granted, not being grateful for what they have, and really entitlement, like being entitled to things that you did not earn. Like it's something that I've seen, like going outside of these walls, that I see all the time, where it's like people are entitled to things like, you didn't work for that, you didn't earn that. So it's like, be grateful for what you have, because a lot of people have it much, much harder than we do.
And the thing is like, you can be grateful for it, and having it is not a bad thing. It's a very good thing. Yeah. Like, in fact, like, go work your ass off to get more of it, whatever that it is for you, right? If it's money, I want you to go get more money. If it's a house, I want you to get a really nice house. If it's a car, even if it's 2 cars, 3 cars, like whatever floats your boat, like I want you to go get it. But like there's nothing wrong with material things. There's nothing wrong with that. It's taking it for granted and feeling entitled to that house. You're not entitled to a house.
No.
Feeling entitled to that car. You're not entitled to that car. Like it should be this way. And buddy, that's not how the world works.
Nope.
Like, it really isn't. And that's where I think, like, physical fitness, personally, like, you can do everything right and still lose a competition. Like that, it's just that way.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to be okay with that. If I remember correctly, you lost the state championship game? Or was that somebody else?
No, I didn't. We didn't get to...
That was Brody. That was Brody.
Oh, really?
Okay. Yeah, so...
That's insane.
Yeah, so that's the thing, though, is like, you can do everything right on the field, and you can still get beat in the championship game because the other team just played, like, they might have scored one more point because they had another opportunity than you.
Yeah, they had 3 extra seconds at the end to kick that field goal. Like,
exactly. They had the last possession. You could have done everything right. No penalties, nothing. And like, you got there, you did everything right, and you still, quote-unquote, failed. But you didn't. You were still giving your maximum effort and making the next right decision.
Yeah, that's what really matters, is that you're giving your maximum effort. And just heard it from listening to a bodybuilder talk about their peak week. And he's a pro that he competed in 212, that's the weight cap for them, and because he's a really short guy, and he's gone into open bodybuilding because he doesn't want that weight cap anymore, and he knows he doesn't have the genetics to like beat Derek Lunsford. Like, Derek is the current Mr. Olympia. He used to be 212, but dude's just a genetic freak. Like, it's insane what this
put on
dude
a couple
looks
of
like.
pounds, didn't he?
Yeah, just a few pounds. Yeah, like 30 once he got out of that division. It was insane. But yeah, so basically this guy going into every show, because he knows he's a little bit short to be really kicking everyone else's ass. He's trying to beat himself at each show. He's trying to beat his last version of himself. At the last bodybuilding show he completely went through and went all in at, he's trying to beat that just by 1%.
Love it.
Doesn't matter the placing, means that you got better. And that's the most fulfilling thing that you can do, because it comes down, like for bodybuilding, I can speak on that, is it comes down to genetics. Like, you have the genetic makeup and you have a limit to where you can get with your physique. And you can always push that by 1% here and there and keep pushing it, but your genetics will determine.
There is a cap.
There is some type of level there that's you're going to stop at. So be grateful that you've gotten better each time, because most people are not going to put in the work and the effort that is necessary to do that, to keep progressing, especially once you get to a high level in something.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to keep progressing, but it takes reps and sets over a long period of time. And that's everything. That's like bodybuilding, that's Spartan racing, that's skill acquisition, everything. It gets harder and harder, but it's doable. Like, for example, like if he, quote unquote, caps out, maybe to the rest of I wanted to say civilian world, but the rest of the population. But in the next show, he could be like, no, I really put in time to develop my shoulders this time around, and my shoulders are better this time around. Right? Like, that's a win for him.
Yeah.
And that's what he's chasing. Is like that 1%, like, oh man, I developed my shoulders. That's really what I wanted. Like, here we go. Dude, I freaking love that.
Comparison is the thief of joy. We talked about it
dude.
before. It really, really is. And so I've struggled with that so much in the past, and it was a source of so much anxiety when I'm worrying about, like, it's like, oh, well, this person got this. Like, oh, this person's already at this. Like, don't compare, especially with, like, this is something that I noticed, like, with being leadership in the warehouse, because we've had so many different age groups. Like, it's usually younger guys, but when older guys come in, it's like, hey, like, no, don't be worried about that this 21-year-old is your team lead. Like, you just got here. Worry about what you need to work on, and you can use the skills that you learned in the 35 years that you've been alive to progress faster. But be worried about your journey. If you're worried about theirs, then you're not going to be able to use those skills.
Yeah.
You're not going to make that progression. So do not compare yourself to others. Focus on you. It goes back to being present. Be present in the moment.
Brother, I'm going to tell you how present I was in the moment. I ate so much food. Afterwards, after my ultra on Saturday.
Yeah, you needed it, bro.
I posted a photo of, like, this. It's like Cincinnati pizza. It's like a mixture of deep dish and, like, I don't know. It's like a mixture of deep dish and pan style, but whatever. Like, the sauce is on top. It's not underneath the layer of cheese.
Yes.
So it's like, that's where, like, the deep dish comes in, but it's like a pan style crust. Like, it's not that thick, right? Yeah. It's not deep.
Didn't catch that.
But yeah, I only ate half of it. Okay, I didn't eat it all because I had other stuff too, the garlic knots and everything like that.
Yeah, you
but like, let me tell you what, that put me in a coma. That put me in a coma, brother. But like, you kind of mentioned it. I needed it, right?
Yes.
Carbs are not the devil.
Absolutely.
Right. When I took 80,000 steps on Saturday, so I needed the food. It was just the fact, like, can my food fit into my body without putting me to sleep, which, because I was tired already, and then, like, feeling like a oompa loompa, like, but, like, carbs are not the devil.
Absolutely not.
Like, and I think you kind of want we were chatting how you've been seeing things pop up, like the polar opposites of crowds, right? Like, the people that are like, carbs are great, versus the carnivore diets where, like, carbs are the devil. Like, don't eat anything more ever than, like, 20 carbs in a day. And that's, like, kind of the ketosis, but carnivore actually takes it even further.
Yeah, where you eat essentially zero
and
carbs.
Like, why don't you tell the people what you've been seeing online lately?
Yeah, so I went through the comments on a carnivore
That's
post
a dangerous
recently.
thing sometimes.
Oh yeah, it definitely is, but it was pretty entertaining. It's like, I love that stuff, but yeah, so I went through the comments on one. I've been seeing a lot more, like, carnivore and keto videos, and people are nasty in the comments, and that's on both sides of the picture.
Yeah.
Like, meaning, like, the carnivore and keto people who are anti-carbs, and the people who love eating carbs and use those to help them reach their goals too. So people are attacking each other about these, where it's like, hey, no, carbs is the way. Oh, no carbs is the way. Like, there's no in between.
Yeah.
Where it's definitely super frustrating.
Yep.
Because, like, I believe that keto and carnivore can work for some people. It has
agree.
some benefits.
Yeah.
Like, there's been anecdotal evidence of people seeing, like, autoimmune disorders reversing with, like, insulin, people who are really insulin resistant.
Yeah.
So basically, insulin sensitivity and insulin resistance means your body doesn't use carbs very well. And then insulin sensitivity means if you're sensitive, means you use it very, very well. So if you're more insulin resistant, where you're getting more on the side where you're getting more likely to be diabetic, that's where carnivore and keto could be huge for you, where it can improve that insulin sensitivity. But on the carb side, I am definitely a big carb guy myself, and that is because carbohydrates are your main energy source for just about everything. So your body absolutely can run on fats. Like I said, I'm not bagging on keto and carnivore. It absolutely can work for some people, and especially for weight loss, because you're removing an entire food group. Like, it can make it easier to not eat as much. Real simple there. But carbohydrates are your main energy source for really everything. Like, I used to see it as just your main energy source for high intensity training, and it definitely is. Your body uses a lot of carbs when you're, like, doing sprints, getting your heart rate really high. But things like your brain run off glucose. Like, whenever you're just going on a low intensity walk, you're still going to use glucose. Like, just anecdotally, if I go on a walk in the morning, or even if it's in between meals, like not right after, I will be hungrier when I get back. And that generally is because my blood sugar's dropped a little bit, caused me to be a little bit more hungry. And it does help with digestion, like we talked about before, but I've measured it before. It legit will bring your blood sugar down, because your blood sugar essentially is your fuel tank. That is your energy. And carbs are very useful if you want to perform at your best in high intensity exercise. Mm-hmm. But if you have specific things that you want to use carnivore and keto for, absolutely go for it. But just to put in perspective, the guy who created carnivore, that like he was all red meat and basically nothing else. Like he was eating red meat and completely cut out veggies, sometimes fruits here and there. So he actually started adding in more fruits and some complex carbohydrates. And I'm not 100% sure.
Saladino, wasn't it?
Yes, Paul Saladino.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% on the complex carbohydrates. I know he's added in more carbohydrates, more fruits, because he was on carnivore for a long time and got his blood work back after the 1, 2, 3 years he was doing it. I can't remember exactly how long, but there were some things he didn't like to see on there. There's a couple things that he said about like his electrolytes. He wasn't able to hold on to electrolytes very well at all, because you need an insulin response for that. Mm-hmm. Like insulin is a storage hormone, so it helps you actually use and store those electrolytes. So there's just some things that I saw from him where it's like, this is the guy who created it, and he had to make some adjustments there. So yeah. Cutting out entire food groups is not always the best decision unless you're doing it for something very specific.
And let's get into that, because keto and carnivore are elimination diets, which means you're taking out full entire food groups, right?
Yes.
And most of the time that's because you're doing that because something is inflaming your body to where like you can no longer have food without having a response. Mm-hmm. Right? All of a sudden you just get puffed up. You see this a lot with gluten intolerance, mm-hmm. right?
Yep.
All of a sudden your joints get achy.
Yep.
And so what keto and what carnivore does is like, okay, we're just going to get rid of all of it.
Yes.
And we're just going to eat red meat. And it's just like, I know Dr. Sean Baker, he eats eggs too. Mm-hmm. Eggs are like amazing.
Yeah, I believe most carnivores will throw that in. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. But like that's what carnivore is. It's an elimination diet because your body is feeling a response from some other food. Now, here's the thing, is that you can do that, you can take all that away. What if something still doesn't work? You still have to eat, right? Mm-hmm. We have to be able to find something. And this is why I personally never recommend like carnivore or keto to anybody unless they do it for a specific reason. But like elimination diet is great. I personally use Whole30. What it does is that it takes foods out of your diet. It creates a whole natural eating, like you just eat whole natural foods, and you figure out what is causing you inflammation. So then you can put gluten back in. It's just like, yep, that's what sparks my inflammation. No. Or you can put, nightshades back in, like potatoes and stuff like that. And you're just like, oh, those are good. Cool. We can keep eating potatoes, right? Mm-hmm. But like, you don't want to go, and I guess this is just personally, you don't want to go the rest of your life with just having to eat red meat. Mm-hmm. Like, you want to be able to find that food group or those specific foods that actually cause that inflammation, and like, okay, cool, I can have everything else? You freaking bet. Like, and that's personally how I view it, and how I think it would be a lot better. It's just Absolutely. Like, you can use it as a tool. Cool, another tool in the toolkit. Elimination diet, then we add foods back in. Oh, not that one. Add another food back in. Cool, I'm still good. and like, that's how I view elimination diets, which carnivore and keto are.
Oh, 100%. Dude, I feel the exact same way about diets. Mm-hmm. Like, where basically you're kind of moving things here and there to figure out what foods work best for you.
Yeah.
You personally.
Yeah, and it's different for all of us. Every single one of us, because we have a different gut microbiome, which is a bunch of little bugs in our stomach lining that agree with shit or don't.
Exactly.
Let's be real.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, and like personally, I have IBS, so I have to be more careful with a lot of the foods that I eat, and I've had to figure out it's a much smaller list of things that I can personally eat, so I've had to go through this. But like for me, just for example, like things like oatmeal, brown rice, and certain vegetables don't agree with my stomach. Like, I don't process them. Certain types
cream of rice.
Yeah, cream of rice is amazing. Regular white rice is amazing. Like, there's plenty. Like, with my meal I had with my mom today, we had peppers, I had asparagus, zucchini. But you start throwing in like sweet potatoes, a carbohydrate, obviously. But the sweet potatoes, my mom and aunt had that. I didn't, because that would have destroyed me.
We're just getting past. But you're conscious of that because you've played that game of like, I've had sweet potatoes before and realized that those are not the thing for me.
Yes.
So I'm just going to avoid sweet potatoes. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's where I found like some of these foods where you would assume to be healthy, like, yeah, they are very good for you, micronutrient dense foods, but they didn't agree with me, so I have to find a different option. So that's why I definitely wanted to mention that, because it's like, if you feel bloated after something like oatmeal every single time, then that may not be the right food for you. Side note with that, if you don't get any fiber in and then you throw in something like oatmeal, it's not going to go that well. So if you start trying to get fiber in, you will have a little discomfort at first until you get used to that fiber. But if you generally have a good amount of fiber and you throw in oatmeal and get bloated all day, then don't get your fiber from oatmeal. Get it from things that agree with you.
Apples, baby. I love getting my fiber from apples.
Yeah.
That's what I eat. Cosmic Crisp apples are phenomenal.
Absolutely, yeah. The skins on apples is a great source of fiber and digests really well for most people.
Absolutely. Yep. And like, honestly, I think that's a good place to stop.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, I think that was a good pod. And here's what I'm gonna say is that we need your help. All right. Next week we're gonna do a Q&A. We're gonna do this virtually. Yes. I'm gonna be out in Colorado, so we're gonna do a Q&A. If you can shoot us some questions on either of our Instagrams, or in the comments below, or anywhere you can reach us, do it, because we're going to do our best to answer. The earlier you can get them to us, the more research we can do and get you more value.
Yeah.
Good deal?
And I know I love doing research. That would be awesome.
Q&A next week, you good with that?
Yeah, let's do it.
Beautiful. I love it. All right, cool, man. I appreciate you doing this for me.
Appreciate you.
Getting here at 7 o'clock at night on an off day.
Of course.
Yeah, so we can shoot our pod.
Yeah, hey, no, I'm a night owl. Appreciate you doing that.
I knew you were.
Multiple races
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. All right, y'all.
Bad motherfucker.
Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. Appreciate you all, and let's freaking win, huh? It's going to be a great week.
Absolutely.